I'm also guilty. Kwa sababu Rigathi Gachagua haulizi watu washikane, ajisaidia wewe mwenyewe.
The second in command has been on the front line fighting for the interests of Mount Kenya region, a move that has been termed divisive, with opponents being the leaders that are supposed to hold his hand.
The people of the region have resolved that we shall unite under one umbrella movement to safeguard our interests and to speak as one mountain with one voice.
The outspoken DP climbed the mountain, got to the peak, and now he is hanging alone, feeling lonely at the top.
Kenya is owed significant voting numbers, making us a critical region in shaping the political and development direction of our country. Our voice and corrective decision in the national matters cannot be assumed. As we continue to support and oversight the current government, we remind our leaders that our numbers matters.
Right now, it's very important that we have Rigathi Gachagua change the script that he has, because right now, when the MPs are lying to somebody else, it demeans his position as a deputy president who's supposed to unite the entire country, not just the mountain as he has been claiming.
A significant block of Mount Kenya MPs recently endorsed Kindiki as their preferred leader. This move, seen by some as a direct challenge to Gachagua's authority, has exposed the deepening fissures within Mount Kenya's leadership structure. Gachagua, for his part, has remained adamant that the region remains united under his leadership, even invoking the name of former President Uhuru Kenyatta to bolster his credentials as the region's rightful leader.
We, as elected leaders from this region and its diaspora, on our own behalf and that of our people, unanimously resolve that our link to the national government to be the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Professor Kindiki.
We want to beseech our brother Kindiki, please remain the gentleman you have always been, and desist any attempt by hungry hyenas and greedy members of parliament, led by Kimani Waisongwa. Kataa mwito ya tumbo na siasa za tumbo za kuuza jamii yetu.
To think you can divide the mountain into east and west just to gain political advantage. Now, the owners of the mountain, I'm sure, will stand and answer you, particularly the young one.
Tutaonekana vipi kwa wale watu wengine? Yani watu wameangalia tu, wanaona watu wa mlima wanapigana left, right na center.
Tunasumbua sana, naibu wa rais, ni watu wa mlima huu. Kuna watu ambao wako na ndoto kwamba wanaweza kukutoa mahali uliko wakalie. Mtu ameshindwa na kufuga kuku, anataka kuvunga ng'ombe.
The current battle for Mount Kenya's political soul pits Rigathi Gachagua against Kithure Kindiki, two leaders with strong ties to the region but distinct approaches and constituencies. This rivalry was most evident during President Ruto's running mate selection in 2022. Both Gachagua and Kindiki were frontrunners, but Gachagua eventually secured the position due to his loyalty and ability to mobilize grassroots support in central Kenya. His reputation as a tough political operator helped secure his spot, despite Kindiki's more polished technocratic approach.
I, Rigathi Gachagua, will never fight my brother or my sister. We have learned our lessons of division. Other regions are not fighting. People want this region to fight.
Gachagua and Kindiki bring different strengths to the table. Gachagua, a seasoned politician, deeply rooted in the grassroots and able to marshal political forces. His experience in mobilizing voters is his greatest asset. However, his aggressive political style has alienated some of his colleagues. As the region moves forward, the battle between Gachagua and Kindiki will undoubtedly shape its political destiny. The stakes are high, not just for the two men, but for the region as a whole. A divided Mount Kenya risks losing its political leverage, a reality not lost to the region's leaders. As the clock ticks towards the next election cycle, only time will tell whether Gachagua can consolidate his hold on power or if Kindiki will emerge as the region's new political kingpin.
To ensure we remain focused on development, we endorsed the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to be the link between our region, the president, and his government.
The lifts katika mlima Kenya ni jambo la huzuni sana. Sababu tulipokuwa tukichagua viongozi wetu, tuliwachagua waweze kwenda katika bunge na kuwa viongozi kuangalia maendeleo ya nchi. Hatukuwachagua ili wao kwanza waende kujipanga sababu ya mwaka 2027.
Brian Amwai, K24.
Thank you very much, Brian Amwai, for that detailed report. And like he says, it's lonely at the top for Rigathi Gachagua. And it's interesting because 2 years after President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, took over reins of power in this country, we are talking about the 2027 political, or rather general elections, instead of focusing on the developments here in the country, even as the government is under immense pressure from millions of Kenyans to deliver on its manifesto. Now, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is calling on the government to abandon the proposed takeover of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by Indian-based Adani Group. Speaking in Nairobi, Kalonzo cited a trust deficit on the side of the government, saying the deal is shrouded in secrecy. Busara Naman with the details.
William Samoei Ruto.
As the Kenya Kwanza regime marks 2 years, former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka has rated it as below average, ranking it 2 out of 10, saying that the government will be sent packing should the election be held today for performing dismally.
I said below average. And if there was any election, I think they know they are out. That's why they are trying to come up with divisive, diversionary tactics to see whether they can, out of desperation, to see whether they can gain some relevance. Out of 10, I think we'll give them 2.
Commenting on the Adani deal, Kalonzo says it must be scrapped since it is shrouded in secrecy and that the Kenya Kwanza government was at fault to settle on Adani through single sourcing.
You cannot operate in secrecy. I've seen the CS in charge of transport saying, oh, in response to the protests, we are now going to do public participation. We withdraw the whole damn thing and then talk to Kenya.
Kalonzo appeared to be reading from the same script as senators who on Friday opposed the proposed takeover of JKIA and called for the deal to be cancelled. The Senate had summoned Transport and Road CS Davis Chirchir to shed light on the deal following outcry from Kenya Airports Authority workers who had expressed fear that they might lose their jobs if the deal goes through.
State whether the government plans to avail free land to the company known as Adani Commercial Limited to build a city-side development on public land, which may lead to land disputes in areas surrounding JKIA.
Honorable Chairman, the government is not offering any free land to Adani Airports Holding in the proposal. Adani included in its proposal a request for 30 acres of land at JKIA for real estate and commercial development. That's what we are calling the city-side. This request has been excluded in the pending concession agreement, but will be handled separately under the KAA policy on concession and leases like any other commercial operation, including approval by the head of public service, which is the current policy on leasing out government property.
The Wiper leader also poked holes on the new university funding model, claiming that it is bound to collapse since there seems to be no clarity within the government concerning it.
In fact, I've heard the leader say that even the lecturers do not understand it. Kenya Kwanza administrators don't even understand it. Why cause a confusion? I was Minister for Education. I can give them free consultants.
He further lauded the court's decision to jail IG Masengeli 6 months in jail for contempt of court, adding that the government must come clean on claims of abductions of 3 people in Kitengela.
The judge was very generous with you. You should actually should have been given custodial sentence so that people will know you have to abide by the rule of law in this country. Because he has to produce the 3 people from Kitengela whose families are even in hiding. Ya nini kuua watoto na pia kuabduct na kuendelea na abduction.
Addressing traders at the Wakulima market, Kalonzo, who was accompanied by several politicians, also condemned plans by Nairobi County government to relocate traders from Wakulima market. He claimed the intended relocation of the traders was against the law and that his Wiper party will file a petition in court on Monday to stop it.
badala ya kupeleka watu Kayole wangetengeneza this 5.5 acres Mudhurwa, kila mtu aone mahali kwa sawa.
Busara Naman, K24 TV.
Well, thank you very much, Busara Naman. On that particular note, we just take a brief breather. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
The 2663 competency-based curriculum system promises excellence on paper. But do the realities match the progressive subjects offered?
At 844 level, children were not nurtured, you know, they didn't have that confidence.
The biggest challenge:
Yo masomo kwanza ni expensive.
Resources and infrastructure.
We're going to work with members of parliament, as I have said, to deliver on the infrastructure required to ensure that our education is purposeful and it is ready for the 21st century.
Even more concerning, teachers still lack guidelines on how certain subjects should be taught.
These teachers are teaching what they never specialized in.
As we approach grade 10, are secondary schools equipped to offer the 3 pathways?
The teachers who are there are just struggling with, in fact, they have nothing.
Join us on K24 TV and Kameme TV.
I urge parents to embrace CBC.
Tunaona kwamba haitusaidii sana.
As we delve into the hits and misses of the CBC system.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner. Mozartbet.
We love to share our cultures. And the one thing that unites us all, that celebrates precious moments, nurtures our Kenyan spirit, drives success, welcomes,
the more the milk, the better the chai,
and even inspires. Our language does all of this and more. Na ni lugha ambayo kila Mkenya anajua. The more the milk, the better the chai. Chai kweli ina Brookside Dairy Best.
Now, thank you very much for staying with us. We continue with the bulletin, and yet again, President William Ruto's support in Ukambani seems to be dwindling by the day, going by the sentiments of former Machakos Town MP Victor Munyaka, who insists that the president has forgotten those who fully supported him in the so-called Wiper Zone. Now, coming fresh on the heels of former UDA chairperson Johnston Muthama's claims that the Kamba community has had a raw deal in the Kenya Kwanza metrics, Munyaka's sentiments seem now to open a can of worms, as electing Odera reports.
Even before the dust settles in regards to the contentious Adani deal at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the nearby Ukambani region remains restless. This time round, key politicians from the Kamba community citing raw deal and neglect by the current Kenya Kwanza administration.
Kwanza mimi ndio kwa siasa nilikuwa Kamotho wa huku Ukambani.
Our lovely mom. Aware of the humongous task they had been assigned to consolidate Ukambani votes and rally behind UDS Dr. William Ruto ahead of the 2022 elections, the leaders say enough is enough.
The only international airport that connects this region, ati hiyo ndio tunataka kupeana. I think we need more answers from this deal.
A case in point is the fact that former Machakos Town MP Victor Munyaka risked his seat by supporting Kenya Kwanza against the vicious Kenya Kwanza opposition. And now the veterinarian feels his efforts have gone unnoticed.
Sini mimi nilikuwa kama nikisimama na Ruto peke yangu. Almost 13 years nikisimama na Ruto. 13 years. And through that effort, Canvas gave President Ruto 250,000 votes. And those 250,000 votes are the votes which made Ruto win presidency.
Perhaps the recent political moves that saw some members of Azimio appointed as cabinet secretaries and other senior government positions have not gone down well to the likes of Munyaka, who expected to be at the forefront in sharing the cake.
My friend, I'm asking my friend, President William Ruto, because amekuwa rafiki yangu for so long. For the sake of Munyaka, for the sake of Kawaya, for the sake of Mudama and Mheshimiwa Nimrod Bai, the ones who worked tirelessly and delivered your victory. Wewe usisahau Wakamba. Usisahau Wakamba.
Recently, former UDA chair Johnson Mudama indicated that the Kamba community had been sidelined, a clear pointer for a breaking point. Compared to the 2008 Grand Coalition government, Ukambani region feels their support of the over 250,000 votes to the Kenya Kwanza basket has gone unnoticed, in a move that has seen leaders like Munyaka and others bear the brand.
Umetengwa juu ukiangalia politicians, vile kunaendelea Wakamba hawako kwa budget ya serikali. Afre ni Mutua Mkamba mmoja kwa Wakamba wote ni wangapi? Ni wangapi Wakamba wamekuwa kwa serikali?
Previously tulikuwa na Alfred Mutua. Alfred Mutua alikuwa governor wa Machakos, ndio? Na after ametoka kuwa governor, alichaguliwa kama tourist. Sawa, wa tourist. From there, si huyo pia ni Mkamba na anapresent jamii ya Wakamba. Also, we have the MP wa Kawaya wa Mwala constituency. Saizi ndo chairman wa energy. So, pia ule anatu represent as jamii ya Wakamba.
On their part, even as the opposition insists that it will put the government in check, despite some of its former members in government, those who have fully remained in the opposition, such as Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi, maintain that there is nothing good to write home about. To read from the same script, Mwangangi advises Munyaka to quit supporting Kenya Kwanza since it has already failed Kenyans.
Nafikiri Munyaka utatoka pande hiyo. Sababu sasa uko hiyo mahali huko ndo ulisaidia wametaka kubeba kila kitu sasa hapana.
Just like any other chief administrative secretaries whose appointment was contested, Munyaka included, analysts say it is a delicate balance that will see victims of collateral damage, at least for now. Electin Odera, K24 TV, Machakos.
Now, President William Ruto says his administration will ensure the Labour Migration Bill is approved by the National Assembly. Speaking just today after signing a Labour Mobility Partnership with the German government, Ruto underscored the importance of the bill in addressing the plight of Kenyans working abroad. Let's listen in.
I came here as a very young girl.
With exportation of labour being an avenue that President William Ruto has paid much emphasis on, the head of state has revealed that his administration is working on ensuring the Labour Migration Bill is passed by the National Assembly, terming it a boost in his bid to find employment opportunities for Kenyans abroad.
Mr. Mushangi there, who is the chairman of the Labour Committee in Parliament, now has the Labour Migration Bill that we are working on to provide again another, legal and institutional capacity for us to manage matters labor properly.
With Kenyans in various countries across the globe decrying harsh working conditions, poor pay among other concerns, the head of state noted that the bill is crucial as it will help seal available loopholes.
We want to make sure that there is a formal way that Kenyans can work so that we can also protect Kenyans who come and work here, there must be a framework where we make sure that nobody takes advantage of them. They are paid what is due to them. They are treated in the manner in which they should be. There are citizens who come from Kenya, work for the companies here, and sometimes they are abused and they are mishandled. The agreement gives us now the opportunity to make sure that we can protect the rights of Kenyans working in Germany. Making sure that they are paid in accordance with the law. We don't want Kenyans to be underpaid merely because they are of the color of their skin. They are also treated as they should, as we treat citizens of other countries.
Ruto, who has been heavily criticized over the state of affairs in the country, took the opportunity to defend some of his policies. The embattled commander-in-chief defended the new university funding model, despite the opposition it has faced, with his administration given 10 days by university students to amend the model.
We are having a very big conversation in Kenya on higher education funding, university funding. It is because we must keep our focus on using the best asset that we have, our human capital, to drive our progress and to drive our economy. How do we create opportunities for the millions of young people who come out of college, who come out of school, who come out of our universities to get jobs?
The trip to Germany is President Ruto's 66th trip since he took over reins of power 2 years ago, and comes just a few days after he jetted back into the country from the People's Republic of China.
And sort yourselves out. I mean, honestly.
Well, of course, that is President William Ruto, who just completed his 2-day tour, or rather official visit to the German side of this particular world. On that note, we just take our second breath. I'll be back in a moment.
The 2663 competency-based curriculum system promises excellence on paper. But do the realities match the progressive subjects offered?
At 844 level, children were not nurtured, they didn't have that confidence.